Let's talk about Kaelon Black, Brad. Senior Bowl stock riser, Kaelon Black. We talked about last week how it was insane that he was even participating in the Senior Bowl, but very clearly anybody who watches that kid play football, you're around him, his energy is infectious. No surprises at all. His stock was rising. What did you think?
Wasn't surprised one bit that he was there. He's the biggest psychomaniac on the team. Probably even more than Aiden Fisher. He was one of the biggest vocal leaders. Kid that just loves ball, very similar to like Jalen Walker type vibes, where it's like, I just love football. I'm just going to play as much football as I can. That's a guy who understands kind of where he came from. He's from the mud. Like, I'm just saying that from a sense where he's under-recruited, overlooked, went through a lot injury-wise. He's not going to leave anything on the table when it comes to his professional career, and that's why he entered the Senior Bowl. And as he should, like all the guys that are heading into the NFL draft process, like that's probably the guy that needed to kind of show himself with pads against other seniors and trying to just show him like, hey, like I wasn't just a guy that benefited from a great Indiana scheme, and I'm a little older, and it wasn't just because of that. It's because I'm a better football player than all these guys, and I think he showed that. With running backs not having as long of a life, I think it almost benefits him that he's a little older, and that it's like, okay, this is a guy that we'll have on rookie contract for 4 years under our team, and I think he basically got himself a draft pick by going there, just by showing up. I think it's what happened, right? I think he literally got himself drafted just by showing up to there, and obviously he flourished as he should. He was the RB1-2, RB1B on a national.
I think you could argue he was 1A even at the end of the year.
On the stretch, like I told you, man, down the stretch, it was like, man, it's really nice to have a 25-year-old running back against Ohio State. It just is. It really helped us down the stretch, and because he could take those hits better than a Roman Hemby can. Not saying Roman isn't NFL ready and that he's not capable. It's just like he's more built for being that bell cow in that situation for us. And I think he got himself drafted. Congrats to Kaelon. Excited to hear his name on draft day, on day 3 most likely, but we'll hear his name being called, which is super exciting for him. Shout out 8-Ball.
I remember calling him. I remember putting out like 8 is great on the timeline with the 8-ball emoji, and everybody was like, why are you talking about cocaine? And I was like, what are you talking? Oh. So
people don't really have to have innocent keys, guys. Like, you gotta lay off him on that shit. He's not throwing cocaine sling out there on the Twitter timeline. I promise you that.
It's so funny. Speaking of really nice things, and this is actually a really nice thing on the Twitter timeline. Bob Kaiser, I believe that was Heath's dad. It is. He posted, my son wrote a really beautiful message to Heath about like being a walk-on and sticking through and culture and all that stuff. So definitely go check that out. I don't know if you were able to see that, Brad.
I don't know who you're talking about, to be quite honest. Kaiser?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
The walk-on.
Oh, Heath Kaiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not on my depth chart. I don't know.
It was a really nice message, Brad. Go check it out.
I'm sure it was great. I don't know. You're more in tune. This is why this is live reaction. This is how you guys know that this is live reaction. Keisha just throws stuff at me, and then it's like, I gotta react, and that's my reaction. I don't know who that is.
You're giving away the secrets of the show, Brad. No, this is all scripted. Fernando Mendoza joins Derrick Henry, Joe Burrow, Devonta Smith as the only Heisman winners to win a national championship.
That's a short list, because there was a Heisman curse where Heisman winners didn't win their bowl game, and obviously in much of that era, like Heisman winners wouldn't even necessarily be in the national title game, right? So I can see why it was a short list, very short. Can you read the list one more time? I just want to hear it.
Derrick Henry, Joe Burrow, Devonta Smith, and now Fernando Mendoza.
All those guys, all 3 of those, not named Fernando Mendoza, pretty strong pillars in the NFL. All second contract guys, all successful contributors. I think that bodes well for him.
Yeah, I think that bodes well for them. One thing that bodes well for Indiana, Brad, is having massive junior days, and that's what happened this past weekend. A bunch of highly touted prospects on campus, and hilariously enough, the only commit to come out of the weekend was quote unquote 0-star offensive tackle Jeremiah Jones out of Michigan City. People are freaking out. Like, I can't believe there was a 0-star recruit and all this. And like, it's funny enough, if you go check his 24/7 profile right now, I believe he has 3 stars, which is hilarious. Goes to show you that
they don't know jack shit.
They don't know what they're looking at. But I can tell you, and it was funny listening to Jamie Jordan and our buddy Trent over at Kirkwood and Dunn. They talked about the recruiting class, and they gave props to me, pointing out the fact that when Bob Bostad and Kurt Signetti lock eyes on a prospect and say, this is one of our guys, and they give one of those coveted Indiana offers out and say, like, you can come and take a roster spot, that is all we need to know about an offensive lineman. Like, when you get that kind of cosign from this coaching staff, you could have 1,000 stars, you could have negative 150 stars, but you turn on the huddle with this kid, Brad, and he's climbing to the second level. He's going up and he's finding safeties. He's finishing blocks. He's 6'6", 275, room to grow. Like, it doesn't take long to figure out why they liked this kid so much.
Yeah, great tackle body, first off. Last 0-star to take a commitment from Indiana was Elijah Hardy. You could argue he's the best player on this roster this upcoming year. Honestly, I'm not even going to argue. He is the best player on this roster this upcoming year. Great commitment. It goes to show you that all these recruiting sites, they don't know jack shit. Signetti's staff has never, ever, ever, ever looked at stars. I know they're bringing in a bunch of 4 or 5 stars because they have more access to better players that they want, right? And they're able to bring those guys onto campus now. Like, that wasn't a thing. They weren't able to get everyone on campus before. They were able to get their guys. They weren't able to get all their guys. Now that's going to start becoming a thing, and they're still doing their process, right? They're going through tape. They're evaluating the way they want to, the way they do it, and and Jeremiah Jones is probably going to be a starting tackle in Indiana in 3 years. Promise you. And
I'm telling you, like, his tape is hilarious.
Just going to be another great story of a guy. He won't have that story like, oh, he's a 0-star recruit because he got this 3-star after the Indiana commitments, kind of ruining it all, right? And it was overlooked. We talk about how this team's going to continue to find its edge. Like, Jeremiah Jones is going to have plenty of edge. I promise you, when he gets on campus, it's going to be great for his development. Throw 25 pounds on him. That's your left tackle for the future. Can't wait. Great name too, double J's, JJ. Let's go. Can't wait to see him flourish. All these, with these recruiting sites, I don't know if they better get with the times where it's like going to be with Indiana. I have a lot of thoughts on this. With Indiana kind of winning the title, I think a lot of teams are getting on the same boat where it's like, hey, we got to value the portal a little bit more than maybe high school recruiting. And you've even thrown out theories in our group chats, like who's going to be the feeder, right? Like, who are these? Like, are all these 5-star?
My favorite theory. This is my favorite running theory.
4-star high school kids that were once getting 10 mil out of high school, and and then it's like none of them are like flourishing at like the level that you're expecting, right? Like, there's a few, there's outliers out there, right? Guys that are able to come out of high school and produce right away. Like Malachi Tony comes to mind. DeCorian Moore comes to mind. Bryce Underwood was fine, right? Like, he wasn't, but I think that the veteran experience is going to weigh a lot more for teams moving forward than bringing in the top freshmen. I think there's a lot of fan bases out there that are still, a lot of those fan bases like this be like, oh, they just got Indiana's offensive coordinator and they're gonna be back to irrelevancy. Like, they don't know jack shit. Whitmer wasn't calling plays like that. These stars just don't matter. Like, if you're yes, freshmen can come in and play right away. It's possible, right? And you can find those guys and bring them in, but for the most part, the veteran guys are going to play. Like, I would rather play a 23-year-old than a 19-year-old. Like, I think that just makes sense, right? Like, I know, as talented as he may be, like, I'm taking the 23-year-old. I just am. Like, that's 3 extra off seasons in a college weight room that he has over that kid. Like, that's just the facts. And I don't know. I'm not going to like call for the relevancy of an on 3 or 24/7, but like, there's going to be more emphasis on the portal more so than these high school level recruiting, which high school recruiting will still matter. You got to build the foundation. We're going to go through this Indiana roster all offseason. Great foundation of lots of freshmen, young talent. A lot of these guys were 3-stars, and they're on the best program in the country. So that tells you all you need to know about how much these stars matter. Like, if they were all that bad, if they were all 3-stars and they could upgrade them to the 4 or 5 stars, like, don't you think they would just let them leave and pick and choose all these 4 or 5 stars, start tampering and taking all these guys in? No, they're not. They're sticking with their guys, they're sticking with the program, and they're just going to develop as they normally do. Guys that got the right stuff, that's what matters more so than any sort of physical talent, because some guys are just early bloomers. Like, I don't want to call certain kids out, but like there was a 5-star linebacker that came out one day from Upland High School. I'm not going to name his name. Went to Oregon, ended up having to transfer to Arizona, and just didn't really have the career that a lot of people were expecting. The reason is he was a freaking man-child in high school, and he didn't really have to grow. He wasn't able to grow any more than he was from high school. He's just, by the time he's a junior, like, he's just another, like, when he gets to college, he's just another guy who's 6'3", 230. Like, there's so many of those guys out there. Like, it just doesn't, once you're on a college campus, your star rating doesn't matter. It's the same thing in NFL. You're a 1st-round pick, 7th-round pick, undrafted guy. Once you're in training camp, it's fucking, who gives a shit? Who's making the roster, right? Like, that's all that matters. And I think people lose sight of that. That's what football's always been about, is the true team game, your ability to develop, the ability to get better day after day after day, and who's doing that the most. And yeah, it's just almost impossible to pick which 18, 19-year-old is going to be, the future 1st-round pick. It's impossible to predict that stuff. That's why it goes back to my theory. Players develop players, not programs, not coaches. It's players. Who's got the right stuff? Who's going to put in the work? Who's going to bet on themselves? Who's going to have a chip on their shoulder? Who's going to do the extra shit? Who's going to take care of their diet? You can't evaluate that stuff. You got to talk to the kid and learn about them, and then see if he's the right fit for your program. Period. And this freshman recruiting is just going to become less and less. And you're going to see less money thrown at freshmen and more money thrown at veteran guys. And that's just what's going to happen. That's going to be the new shift. That's how college football is going to change. It's going to be for the better. Like, I wouldn't want, as enticing as it would be, if I had an 18-year-old highly touted recruit coming in, I want him to go to the best program. I don't care what money is being thrown at him. I want him to be in the best situation he can be in terms of getting the best out of him, right? Like, I feel like people are trying to get money grabs now, and I think there's a lot of bad agents out there trying to, muck up the whole thing and giving kids bad, advice and things like that. Like, all it comes down to is, are you going to put in the extra work? Like, that's where your money's going to come in. It's not going to come from a paycheck that you get out of high school. It's going to be the money that you get when you get to the league. That's period. Like, there's so many life lessons being lost from football with all this NIL and portal stuff where people are trying to get money.
Now you sound like get off my lawn type. Like, anyway, I enjoy the overarching theme of what you're saying. I do. I want to clarify the theory and the idea that I've been putting forth is that some lower level, like, MAC school is going to become like the German soccer team of college football, and like recruit a bunch of figure out a way to partner with like a universities to say like Miami of Ohio and Ohio State, right? They're like, okay, cool. Like, we'll just play 12 5-stars for 2 years and then transfer up, and we'll get a piece of whatever, like a sell-on clause type of, I don't know. We're a long way from there, but I think that would be hilarious and a really interesting way to try and compete in modern college football if you don't have the budget to challenge a team like an Ohio State, or even do what an Indiana did. And because like, you need a budget to be able to do what Indiana did, because we went and took an entire coaching staff.
Yeah. Whenever I see like these blue blood fan bases arguing over who has the better freshman class, I just laugh, because that shit don't even fucking matter. It just doesn't.
Especially with the portal, and you can jump. Like, it
doesn't matter. None of it.
And it's even when somebody commits, like when somebody commits in the class of 2027, like, nothing's official until they sign on the dotted line in December of this year.
Well, yeah, that, like, it's important to build your freshman class, right? But you just gotta make sure you have the right guys. Like,
no, 100%.
The fact that you're banking on these guys, like, oh, we got a top 5 high school recruiting class coming in, and we're gonna be so back. It's like, yeah, maybe in 3 years, maybe we'll see how many of those guys stick around, how many of those guys pan out.
Exactly.
I just don't buy it. It's just yeah, it's interesting it'll be interesting to follow and see if my theory is correct about, the more, I hope more schools out there keep, and their boosters are like, we guys keep getting the top freshman class, we got to, because a lot of that comes from the boosters. We're like, we didn't have a top 20 recruiting class. What the hell's going on over there? My head coach at Oklahoma or Mississippi State or whatever the fuck. Like, it's all booster. Like, these boosters who pay the salaries of a lot of these coaches are like putting pressure on them to get these, sign these 4 or 5 stars. And it's like, that's not the way. It's not, yeah, it could work, right? But I mean, I remember, I don't know. I've seen plenty of teams that had plenty of NFL talent not fall through because, you got to have a complete roster. That's the more important thing. Got to have 11 guys doing their jobs. Fast, physical, relentless, smart, disciplined, poised. And I think people are missing that piece of it, and people are going to try to replicate it. I think JD Pickle or Jake Butt actually was the one who said this, where a lot of people are going to try to replicate what Indiana's done. And the reality is you won't be able to because Indiana has it and you don't. I mean, you can get close and you might even win a national title. You might be able to knock off Indiana, but in terms of year after year after year, being able to stick with the process and the program, and I mean, we got it. We got the gold standard of what post NIL, post transfer portal football is going to look like. And everyone's going to try to replicate it. Good news for us is that we're ahead of the game because we set it. We set the standard.
Set the pace, maintain it, Brad. You know where's a much better place to put your money than freshman recruiting nowadays?
Where?
Into Indiana football posters. Because if you didn't get a chance to make it to Bloomington and go pick up one of the posters, or you liked a particular poster and weren't able to get your hands on it, the artist John Terzini is selling each poster. So you can check out hometownriot.com. All of the posters from this year, if you had a personal favorite. I like the Oregon ones. The Natty one would be one. Oh my God, that's what I forgot. And my Indiana football action plan, I posted it on Twitter, but my IFAP came. I have a physical copy of the IFAP. And so shout out to B-Town Moose for that. That is so pumped for that. It's a memory I'll cherish forever. And I cannot believe I don't have it sitting next to me right now. That's but I put up a picture on Twitter. You can go check that out. But yeah, you can go check out the posters, pick them out. They're selling them with frames, without frames, and I don't know, but they're just awesome. So support the artist. He does great work. So if you're interested, check that out. Brad, Fernando Mendoza.
By the way,
What'd you say?
Love those posters, by the way.
Oh, they're elite every single year.
Mm-hmm.
Fernando Mendoza is still picking up awards, Brad. He won the Manning Award. The most hilarious quote to come out of that was that he said he was now addicted to success. It's just the Raiders are like they can't even hide it. Like he's gonna be a Raider. Like they just hired Clint Kubiak, which like I get quick thoughts on that now. But pairing Mendoza with Kubiak, I'm just like all of the success already going that guy's way. To now looks like that franchise is gonna build around him in the right way, and they went and they got the best head coaching candidate they possibly could. Thoughts on Clint Kubiak pairing with Mendoza?
Great hire. Good to get an offensive mind with your future franchise quarterback. In theory, that's the direction they go. Still got to fix that O-line. That O-line is a big issue. Second most sacks in the NFL, given up in the last 2 years. Most sacks given up in the NFL this past year. They got to fix it. It's not going to do Mendoza any favors. I would hate to start a narrative where Mendoza's a bust when it's all because, the rest of the team isn't necessarily doing their jobs. There always has to be a loser. There always has to be an ass in the NFL at any given point. That's usually around the teams, right? And that has been the Raiders or the Browns or the past few years, right? And Browns didn't find success until they figured out that O-line when they had Zietler and all those guys on the team, and they really got that first playoff win in a long time. They blew it all up, and look where they're back. They're back to irrelevancy again. It's like you got to set up him for success, and it all starts with the O-line. Like I'm almost at a point where it's like, yeah, he's gonna go to the Raiders. It's probably what's gonna happen. But like, if I'm the Raiders GM, let's get fucking trade back and get the best tackle. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we're not ready for a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like,
you're out of your mind. No.
I know.
No.
You'll say I'm out of my mind, but I'm also ready.
No. I think you can take Fernando and then not play him this year. I think that should be like, I think every rookie quarterback should sit their first year. But no, I think it would be foolish to pass on him. I think he's the most can't miss quarterback prospect that's come out.
It wasn't a knock on Mendoza.
Arguably since Burrow, but maybe even past that. Like his his process, his preparation, the way he brings guys together, it's like he does all the things you can't teach, and all the things you can teach, he can learn them. Like it is, to me, he is the no-brainer. If this guy's passed up, I cannot believe that the Jets sent a contingent out to see him in Bloomington, not once, but multiple times went to see him, and then went and won football games after that. Like incompetent franchise, and the fact that it's like you have the Raiders, but it's Brady at the top now, along with Mark Davis. I think Spytech is the name of the GM, or Spy, or whatever the name of the GM is, who the players really like. And then the head coach is one of the best offensive minds in the sport right now. I think that sets him up for success. Now I'm with you, build the offensive line, but by no means am I like trading out of this pick to get away from him. Absolutely not. I'm getting that guy in my building as quickly as possible, and he's the guy. Now, but it's like, look at Patrick Mahomes. He wasn't the number 1 overall pick, but he was the 10th pick. And then everybody knew it was going to be his team at some point. He sat for a year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
Also, we're already winning playoff games without, or going to the playoffs with Alex Smith, and had
100%.
a system around Patrick Mahomes that was basically plug and play for him right away. And yeah, I think sitting a year definitely works. A lot of guys out there love Mahomes.
Rogers.
Plenty of guys done that and succeeded. And yeah, could be a good play for him. But I think Raiders are at a point where they have to, Lamar. A lot of players, have to play. And if he goes to the Raiders, it's probably going to be a situation, probably going to have to play. And yeah, and I mean, just look at Sam Darnold, right? Like, I think that's the perfect story of kind of what I'm trying to avoid for Mendoza, but honestly, it's starting to work out for Darnold. So wouldn't be the worst thing for him, right? If he has to go through some trials and tribulations with the Raiders and maybe find a second home, or maybe the Raiders figure it out and he rises like a phoenix from the ashes and revives his career. And in reality, he never was bad. He just had a bad team. That's just how it goes in the NFL. So that's the point I'm trying to make. I just hope the best for Fernando, and I'm very protective of him, and I don't want him to be they can get pretty nasty online. I know he doesn't go online, but it can get nasty. And I think a lot of people would have. I just don't want the narrative being, let's get pitchforks and torches and let's get Fernando run him out of town. Like, if he's put in that situation, I think there's 31 other teams that would definitely evaluate him and look at him as like, okay, let's bring that guy in. Like, I don't think they want to get rid of him. And Sean McVay's like, oh, Stafford's retiring. They want to get rid of Mendoza. Like, let's give him a second round pick for him. Like, oh, why not? Like, fuck. Like, hope him the best. I think it's going to be a good fit. I think Clinton Kubiak's going to set him up for success early on, and it just matters what they do with that personnel wise. They can scheme out of a lot of that O-line issues, right? And maybe Kubiak can fix some of that as well. And yeah, it's a great hire, and I hope Mendoza the best, and that's probably where he's going to end up.
He's absolutely ending up there, no doubt in my mind. Elijah Surratt is now the best offensive senior in college football, 26. He's a 94 overall.
That's cool, as he should.
The College Sports Commission made headlines this week and then did absolutely nothing when they announced a probe into LSU for potentially misreporting NIL deals, and then announced that there was a giant misunderstanding and there were no wrongdoings. That's how that ended, by the way.
How much money did they pay him?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I almost posted like the giant misunderstanding with no wrongdoings, and then a giant briefcase with a bunch of money in it. Like, oh, here was the misunderstanding. It's like, oh my God. Like, I can't believe, because I went back and I was like, all right, maybe when I saw the headline, the initial like CSC, College Sports Commission, opens up inquiry into LSU, that like maybe I overreacted. No, like every single reaction was like, holy shit, look at what just happened. Monumental moment. Like, this could be a landmark. We'll see. And then it was like 3 days later, like nothing. It was absolute slap on the wrist. Nobody's even it's to the point where like I'm convinced, Brad, that people are avoiding it because they're just too embarrassed to like bring it back up. Like, there's no point in rehashing what we all thought it was going to be, because it was an absolute nothing. So I don't know where that leaves the College Sports Commission, and I don't even know. Like, I don't even know if you can have thoughts on it, because nothing happened.
I don't know anything.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, we can insinuate that maybe there's some money thrown under the table to get rid of their issues,
don't even know
like
what they
the
got in trouble
NCAA out
for.
of the
Like, who
fold.
knows?
Like there's no real guidelines to any of this shit, so we gotta like fix it. Like I said, throw my hat in the ring again. College football commissioner.
I don't know if you could be commissioner, but maybe you could try and work your way onto like a Josh Pate style ticket.
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, I would need all hands on deck. Like I would loop in a Josh Pate. Like that's a guy who knows the ins and outs of college football recruiting pretty well, actually. JD
Oh,
Pickles.
he would be on your
JD
ticket.
Pickles, my second call.
So you're
Right there.
you're
Cornell
you're
guy.
right in the
I'm
you're right in
bringing
the
in the
book with
Cornell guy.
Signetti.
I'm ruining hands. That's why I should be the commissioner because I'm of egoless delegation toward certain roles, and I know where to find the smart people, the people that care about the sport, know what's important, and just wants what's best for the fans and the players and the coaches. Because that's all that matters, right? And I feel like I can get the job done. I would just need to bring the right people on board for it. I have a lot of people in mind that I would want on my committee, on my C-suite.
Am I in that? Am I in your C-suite, Brad?
You're on the long list for
That's
sure.
tough.
I don't have biases, brother. I don't.
That's tough.
You're on it though.
Yikes. We'll move on. There was a bite-sized Bison tweet about Kamara's pressure rate.
I think you should continue being the voice of Indiana football. That's what you should be doing. You're destined for this shit, man.
We already climbed the mountain, Brad. I don't even. They don't need me. I'll tell you that. They definitely don't need me.
That's fair.
There was a bite-sized Bison tweet detailing Kamara's pressure rate throughout his career. It actually jumped from the Sun Belt to the Big Ten. It was at 10.3 at James Madison, 10.3%. At IU, Kamara's pressure rate was 17%.
Crazy. Development.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Illinois staff keeps getting picked apart.
Buda Williams.
Absolutely. Great shout out, Brad. Illinois staff keeps getting picked apart, which is kind of hilarious. Their defensive coordinator is now going to be the Notre Dame defensive backs coach. Their special teams coordinator is now the Ohio State special teams coordinator. Those guys are great coaches in their own right. It is just funny to think about the fact that Indiana stuffed Illinois in a locker and embarrassed both of those units in particular, and then two fan bases that we've had quarrels with in the past are celebrating those hires as great hires, as they should. And you think about, like I just said, what Indiana did to both of those units last time they played. Funny stuff.
Mm-hmm. Hilarious. We're the boogeyman. You know, I'm not scared of anyone. Never daunted. Yeah, you can have all your fun with your new coaches and your 5 stars and your 4 stars. You can have all you want. You know, you can look good on paper, but when it comes between that 120-yard by 52.5-yard rectangle with some hashes and some white lines on it, you better buckle your chin strap a little extra tight when you're playing the Hoosiers. So be ready.
You know who wasn't daunted, Brad? No, Fernando Mendoza when he went on Sunday Conversation with Caleb Presley and Glenny Balls.
That was awesome.
Which was incredible. Awesome. Absolutely incredible performance. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. We got a Fernando Mendoza, Kurt Signetti impression, among other things. And it's just like another thing that people saw what they were shown with Fernando Mendoza, especially early on in his time at Indiana, where he was very protected in terms of what he said to the media and what I don't want to say they allowed, or what he was allowing out about his personality. And as the season has progressed, as they've won more, and as the season has ended, we've seen this whole different side of Fernando Mendoza's personality that you can assume is there because the guys in the locker room like him so much. But like, even from like the little Uzi stuff with the national championship and like the Sunday Conversation thing is like, that's something I never thought I would see him do after watching him sit down with Nicole Auerbach and talk about him and Alberto selling mangoes. But it makes a lot of sense in another unbelievably entertaining spot for Fernando, and just another way to endear him to the people.
100%. Fernando's circle, aka his representation, his marketing team, doing a fantastic job. Should be the standard in terms of how you handle college athletes in terms of this NIL representation era, right? Where they have agents at the college level now. Fantastic job where they're obviously he's super marketable, so it makes their jobs a lot easier, winning the Heisman and, being just a great kid that's impossible to root against. Yeah, they deserve, more clients and yeah, I'm sure they're whoever they are. I didn't look too deep into who these people are and who's representing Mendoza, but whoever those people are, like if you want your kid to get represented, that's probably a good team to try to get introduced to.
It's the Indiana football Hoosiers, Brad. Something that wasn't good that came out over the last week, Nick Marsh's Twitter account got hacked. So if you didn't see the tweet from his mother, Mamatron, or get a random message from his account that looks super sketchy, don't click on any links. When that's resolved, something will be on the timeline, I'm sure. JMU Sports News, which was the account going crazy during their Oregon week, chose us when he announced that Curt Cignetti's basketball introduction speech was better than Bob Chesney's. So that was big time.
Yeah, Bob Chesney wants to be so bad. Let's move on.
It wasn't great. A Cignetti did get hired by the Pittsburgh Steelers. It just wasn't Curt Cignetti. Frank Cignetti Jr. got hired by the Steelers to be the quarterback's coach.
Keep it in the family. Why not have a Cignetti on your staff? Why not?
Literally. Indiana football. There was a post by Indiana Football Recruiting that talked about Indiana's point differential. I think it was like 497. The next closest was like 50 points. And talked about being the first undefeated 16-0 undefeated team since Yale, and having a plus 22 turnover margin. So your tweet, Brad, really liked your tweet. Thought that was good stuff.
Yeah, 11. You saw the numbers. Belt to ass all season. Team brings back 11 starters plus Tyler Morris and BB back from injury. They bring in a top 10 transfer class, which is way more important than any sort of. Obviously, the ratings don't matter, but a great transfer class, tons of production throughout, top to bottom, and they're just reloading, and they bring back half of those starters from that team. So yeah, like I said, we're the boogeyman, and better buckle your chin straps up extra tight, or else because they're looking to win by 500 again this year. Tell you that. I did the depth chart. I upgraded, put it on a Google sheet. No more handwritten. I'll always keep the 2025 handwritten depth chart. But, it's better to have access to heights and weights and years and numbers and things like that. And obviously that stuff will be updated as spring rosters and fall rosters get published. And I'll keep it updated. But, we're big takeaway from writing down the depth chart is that we are loaded again. I say that. Keep it short and sweet for you.
We're closing in on the end of the smoke here, Brad, because we're going to get into the transfer portal. But I'll close it out quickly. There's new heat from Bison Drop. I don't know if you've seen it, but the social drop this week is confetti from the field. I had a tweet out there, so if you see it, like it. But in my personal opinion, I hope Respectable Adam wins. That'd be really cool. I've been liking his stuff about it all week. But if you think you got some heat, if you got a better idea than mine or Respectable Adams or whatnot, drop some heat, get in that Bison Drop social drop, and see if you can get that confetti. But also the coolest thing by far to me on the Bison Drop site right now isn't even the Curt Cignetti headset, which is unbelievably cool. But they have a win sign. You know the win sign, Brad, that they hit running out of the locker room.
Our guys,
yeah. We bring one to away games, and they are auctioning off that win sign right now.
Yeah, because we just make another one. It's fine.
I know, but I said
that's the thing. They put in the work. It's not about the sign. The sign doesn't have magical powers. Like
no, but you're missing the point. You can go bid on the sign, and you can add that sign that the team traveled.
I heard you.
That's exciting stuff. That's really cool. That's the type of stuff I want to see on Bison Drop.
That would be a cool addition to any man cave. That'd be so sick. They should honestly just print those bad boys out. Just send them out. Mass production. Talking supply chain, baby. But anyway, straight to the NIL fund.
I can't even get them to make the Hunt for the Punt Grant Kane shirt, Brad. So I doubt I'm going to get but it's okay.
We'll get that.
And then finally,
you had a lot of influence on some gear getting dropped. So I would just keep at it,
I wrote this out of spite. I wrote short conferences. Addie Nemchek, IU women's basketball commit, named McDonald's All-American because she goes to Red Bank Catholic, which is my old high school's rival. But Indiana women's basketball commit Addie Nemchek, the first ever McDonald's All-America for Indiana women's basketball. So shout out to Terry Morin, shout out to Addie Nemchek, and yeah, women's basketball is on the upswing, Brad. I know a lot of people are upset with Terry Morin and like we're saying some crazy things on the timeline in the last couple weeks. Let Terry cook. She's fine.
Yeah, let her do her thing. She's earned her job for life. Anyways, back to like my recruiting spiel. 4 or 5 stars don't matter. What does matter? McDonald's All-Americans, all district, all state players of the year, all league. Those are the things that matter. I could give less of a shit about your star rating on some bullshit website that it's all about politics and how much access you give to Greg Biggins. And why did I actually like Greg Biggins? I think he's a true professional. But like, it's not
about stray.
It's about.
We apologize to the Biggins family.
The West Coast 24/7 guys. That's just the first guy that came to my head. I've been following Greg Biggins forever. He actually does a great job. Shout out Scott.com back in the day. But it's not. That wasn't even a stray at him. It was just more so like it's very politically biased in terms of how much access these guys get to the players, right? And that's a big reason why maybe Jeremiah Jones wasn't getting the recognition. Like maybe that guy, I'm not going to insinuate things, but maybe he didn't have access to goes to these exposure camps. That happens to a lot of these guys, right? They don't have. Derrick Henry wasn't able to go to all these different camps and stuff, and Saban just luckily found him, right? Like it was like who's this guy who's setting the Alabama State rushing record right now? Who is this guy?
Luckily found this 240-pound monster.
4.5. Holy crap! Let's bring him in. It's like I don't know. These things, like, what matters more is your accolades and your achievements at the high school level, way more so than whatever site puts stars next to your name. That's what matters more, is those accolades, your team accomplishments, your individual accomplishments, your production, and just getting good shit on tape is what matters. It's not about the star ratings for a quick, little debrief on who's good and who's not, because that's not how life even goes.